welcome back. It's time again for another live edition of the Weekly Member Spotlight. We have figured this out 2 weeks in a row, how to go live again on Facebook. I think we can call that a trend, and we are going to be back to the live recording. So I am here with a new face to me. I'm very excited to sit down with Gabby Smith, who is the marketing manager with Ackerman Group for today's Weekly Member Spotlight. But before we dive into the interview, I want to say I hope you are all wrapping up your mornings at the office and that you're going to be meeting us on the river here at 1:45 for the B&B Riverboat Cruise with the GCNKAA. Hope to see a lot of you out there. And this is a little fun interview before you get out to the river. So Gabby, again, is the marketing manager for Ackerman Group. Gabby, welcome to the Weekly Member Spotlight.
Hi, thank you for having me.
I know I've introduced you by name and by title, but I'd love to ask you, just tell us a little bit about who you are, what you do with Ackerman, and maybe how long you've been in the industry.
Yeah, so I'm the marketing manager, and I lead all of the marketing campaigns and a pretty small team that we oversee the marketing for all 18 of our properties. And I'm actually pretty new to the industry. I've been with Ackerman Group and in the property management industry for a year and a half. I was doing actually digital marketing for a nonprofit before, and I did that for 5 years. So yeah, I'm new to the industry, which is really exciting for me. And also I feel like unique. Every time I meet someone in marketing and property management, they're like, oh, I've been doing this for 10 years. And so, yeah, so I kind of feel like it's a whole new world for me.
Well, that's exciting. And it's not often I get to speak with someone who is so fresh in the industry. So I've got some questions, going to pick your brain a little bit. First of all, how did you make the switch from the nonprofit marketing into property management?
Yeah, so, I saw this job posted and I really thought I always had an interest in real estate and kind of that management piece of maybe, having my own investment properties or, being able to manage my own properties. So I kind of had that like personal kind of interest. And so when I saw this position posted, I thought, this is great. It kind of matches my passion of obviously like what I do for work, which is marketing, and kind of that personal passion of like real estate. So I thought it was a great fit for me. They were looking for someone with a digital background. So as you probably know, in 2022, when you think marketing, it's like 90% digital. So yeah, so I was really excited to kind of bring that digital expertise to the role and be able to kind of bring the company along and step up our digital marketing.
It's really interesting to think back for those of us who have been in the industry 100 years, like back when I was starting in the business, all of the what was a website, right? It was a book, a little apartment guide, rental guide magazine that you would pick up at the grocery store or at the department store or wherever, gas stations, like restaurants, they all have these little displays. And then I've been in the business long enough to kind of watch the evolution, and I really love this, instant on-demand tool in our hands that we can get any kind of, marketing materials and information in real time. So I've loved the evolution. I'm glad people like you exist that have the expertise, because people like me do not have the technology acumen to make that happen, but I love that it is here. So having been in the business for a year and a half or so, do you have a memorable story about a experience that you've had thus far?
Oh man. Honestly, I think the most memorable thing being in this industry that's completely different from anything I had experienced before is the people that I've gotten to meet that work similar roles that I do. It's unlike any other industry that I've worked, in the sense that when we get together, everybody like knows each other and it's like a family almost. And so when I, first started going to apartment association events, it was like, oh, okay, like everybody knows each other. They've known each other for like 15 years, 20 years. So I think that's the most memorable thing for me. Like it's really great to see people who've been in the industry for so long and be able to think, oh, like that could be me, in 10 years. And so it's really exciting. And I think that's the most memorable thing that I can think of in this industry.
Well, I love that. That's really great. And it's very, very true. We all know each other. And
Mhm.
I mean, I've seen people meet their, you know, spouses. I've seen their kids grow up, their kids get in the business, like you name it.
Yeah.
So it is a family. And that's makes my heart feel good that you witnessed that in our local community of property management professionals. That's good. Well, I want to ask one other question just because I'm curious. What was the nonprofit that you worked for? What line of nonprofit organization?
Yeah, I worked for the Salvation Army, the Ohio headquarters, downtown Cincinnati. So very broad spectrum of organization. So anything from youth and children, music classes to actual social services of giving food. And so I had a great experience there, and going through COVID actually with that organization, it was really, really a crazy time and eye-opening for me. And I really I have a love for that organization.
Oh, well, that I do too, and I love that. I'm sure you know about the Apartment Association Outreach Foundation, and Ackerman is very supportive of that. And it is we've interviewed for this weekly member spotlight initiative many of the nonprofit partners, some of the shelters and some of the organizations that provide the social services and rent relief and things like that. So I also have a soft spot for that, and it was among my absolute favorite interviews that we've done, talking to some of the folks associated with those groups. So
Yeah, it was awesome to see. Actually, the Salvation Army is doing an anti-human trafficking class for the Apartment Association. So it was really great to see that, because I work really closely with that, and we're one of the leading organizations in the country. They were one of the leading organizations in the country doing anti-human trafficking services with the FBI. So yeah, I love being able to tie what I'm doing now back to kind of that passion.
wonderful. Yeah, I obviously can't stomach the thought that we have to have those kinds of training classes, and how terrible that is. That thank goodness we are making it something that is incumbent on us as property managers to be aware of and to be looking for, and giving our people the resources to help stop it. So that's exciting. Well, I know you've only been in the business a year and a half, but I think that's plenty of time to have learned some lessons and to maybe share some advice. What advice would you offer up to anyone who might be considering coming over into this industry?
Yeah, as I think of the next generation and people who are coming after me, I think that one of the main things that I've talked about was, that change is possible. I think sometimes people are afraid of change, but change can be for the better. And so I think don't be afraid to put, what you think could be the next big thing out there, because you never know. So obviously best practices are best practices, but you never know when you're going to have the next big initiative. And so be open-minded and, able to talk about what you are thinking about and what great ideas you have.
I love that. And I second that. That is very good advice. And our industry has been ever changing, and it feels like it's changing faster and faster by the minute. So I think that's really great advice. And I do love that we have in our industry and in many of our companies, we have forums to share ideas and to brainstorm and to come together. So I know the GCNKAA, we have roundtables quite a bit where leaders from the different companies and the marketing team,
Yeah.
our trade show has a roundtable, the facilities people do, the operations people do, and we just share ideas and talk about needs also, like what needs do we need to work on and focus on. So
Yeah, and being here for only a year and a half, going to that roundtable that first year was just really, really amazing, an amazing experience for me, because it just marketing really changes from industry to industry, and so being able to just sit with other people who are doing similar things, it was just really, really great. I'm always talking about the roundtable.
I'm very biased, but I think the leader of that roundtable is among the best in the business. So James Feller, who's our marketing director here in Cincinnati.
Yes.
So, well, good. I'm glad you like that. And I'm super glad to hear that you are so involved early in your career with the association. So, and I also, I don't want to diminish you. I said only a year. A year in property management is like 100 years. So you are seasoned already, friend.
It feels like I've been here forever.
Well, I'd love to shift gears a little bit, Gabby, and get to know you personally. Does that sound okay?
Yeah.
All right. Well, tell us a little bit about your family.
Yeah. So I'm married actually to my high school sweetheart. I know we've been together for a really long time. We've been married for 4 years and no kids, but we have a little dog. Um, and then I'm really close to my family and my brother who actually just got married. And so I was in Florida for that. But yeah, I'm really close to my family. I actually come from a Cuban background. So I was born in Cuba. So my family's from Cuba. So I enjoy eating Cuban food. And so making the visit down to Florida whenever I can is really nice to be able to.
From the Cincinnati area?
I'm not. I'm actually from, so I was born in Cuba, but I grew up in Florida. And I was living in Naples before I moved here.
Okay, one second. Why would you leave Naples to come?
I know. You know, everybody says that, but I love Cincinnati. Like being able to have the seasons and being able to, I don't know. It's a great city and just everything that you do. I think maybe when you're in Florida, you take kind of the summers for granted because when I'm here, everybody is so happy when the sun comes out and there's so many activities to do. So I really enjoy that. And I really love having things to do in the fall that are really fun. So I like it. I miss the beach, but I think being able to go back is nice since my family is back there.
Well, it is a quick, flight to get to the Naples area. So, all right. Well, there's like 5 other questions that I have to ask you now because of all of that kind of thing. First of all, there was an Omnimax movie about Cuba at Museum Center a couple of years ago, and I saw it was wonderful. Did you see that? I followed.
I did not. I meant to go and I totally didn't get the chance, but yeah, I thought that was cool.
It was so good. I don't know what I expected, that it was during COVID, and so there wasn't a ton to do. But when things started opening up, I went, and it followed a dancer. I think she was a ballerina, maybe, but it was phenomenal. But it showcased the country, obviously, and it was very well done. Okay, we got to go back because you said you have a puppy. Tell us about your puppy. What's the name and what kind of dog?
Yeah, so I have a little Yorkie. Her name is Glitzy, and her name fits her perfectly. She's like all glitz, like she walks like she has heels on. Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, of course. And all pink, she actually hates wearing like clothing, so I don't put her in anything. But yeah, she's 7 pounds, so she's like this big, and she is turning 10 in August. I know, so she's an old lady now. But yeah, she's super active, and I really love her.
Cute. Well,
she's my baby.
I can tell you started beaming when you talked about her. So when we started the weekly member spotlight, we didn't do interviews. We did like a written thing, and we had all these pictures, and I need to figure out a way to integrate. I need to see pictures of the pets and the family vacations and all the things. So I can envision what Glitzy looks like. But yeah, we're gonna have like, bring your dog to the interview if you have, yeah,
that would have been fun. She's outside, but I could have grabbed her.
Yeah, right. Well, okay, so I got that. Now I know why you moved from Naples to Cincinnati, which makes sense. And Cincinnati is a very great place, but Naples is obviously beautiful, and it's always great to have somewhere to go and somewhere to visit. So
yeah.
Well, are you much of a reader or a podcast aficionado? And if so, what's a couple of good ones that you would recommend?
Yeah, I love both. One of my favorite podcasts is How I Built This. Have you ever heard of that one?
I'm gonna write that down.
It's Guy Raz, and essentially he goes into interviewing people of the biggest brands in the world, the biggest companies, and how kind of they started and how they got to where they are. So a couple of the big ones that I can remember is Kate Spade. He had an interview with her, and just kind of, it's really nice to see like the entrepreneurial spirit of these big brands that you might not realize were nothing at some point. Like it wasn't like, it wasn't like someone bought them out. It's like they started it themselves. And so it's really cool to see like anybody could do it and kind of get to know the background of these big brands. And Whole Food is another episode that I really enjoyed. Yeah, so it's really interesting because I love like the aspect of building your own business and really, working your way up. So That's a good one. For a book, we actually have a book club at Ackerman Group.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so we do.
Outsiders, because I love
So we essentially like wanted to provide a way to kind of encourage people to read, but it's leadership books and be able to pour into them in that sense and be able to have a time where we can talk about it. So we have a book club and we provide the books for all of the employees. We just started this. This is our second quarter. And so the latest book I read was our Q3 book. It's called The Go-Giver. And it's just like essentially a powerful business idea. And it's all about what you can give to others in business that will in turn make you grow as a professional and in sales and all of that. So yeah, really great book.
I like that. I like that concept. We do usually like an annual something where we'll have, at the beginning of the year, a book, and it's always a leadership book. But one of my absolute favorite things about this weekly member spotlight is I have been given so many good recommendations on podcasts and books that like I hope I live to be 100, because it's going to take me that long to get through all of these really amazing recommendations. And that's one of my favorite things that comes out of this.
Yeah.
I wrote both of those down because I have not listened to or read either one of those recommendations.
Yeah, for me, it's hard to read stuff that's nonfiction on my own. So it's really nice to have like this book club to kind of encourage to read more like leadership books and entrepreneurial books. So it's really great, and we get to all talk about it and like discuss it and how we can implement the things that we're talking about in our everyday jobs and how we can work together. And it's really great.
Yeah, that's what I love, especially with the leadership books. I love, any book. I love like being able to talk out loud about it, because everyone gets something different depending on what their own life experiences and perspective is. And so I love that element too.
When you're reading with your team, it's like almost like a light bulb moment sometimes when you're reading them and you're like, oh, we could have been doing that, or oh, that was me, I did that and I shouldn't have done that, or whatever it is. So it's really, really great.
I'm there. And then like the analogies that come out of some of those books, like there's I think it's Good to Great might be the one that talks about the 20-mile march. And so I say all the time, like we're only at mile 4, so we gotta gotta be ready, we gotta be strong, we can't lose focus, or we need to slow down a little bit. And so all of those shared analogies really help too. Well, what do you do in your pastime? Do you have any hobbies, anything fun that you do with your husband or even on your own?
So my husband's actually a musician.
Oh, wow.
So he's a trumpet player and he plays piano and all that. So I sing and I really love to do that with him. I know not on a professional level because he does like actual professional gigs, but we have a piano in our home. So we just, sit down and sing sometimes and he plays. So it's kind of nice to decompress that way.
What's your go-to song if you had guests and they're like, sing us a song, Gabby? What would he play and what would you sing?
Oh my gosh, it's so funny because everyone asks me that, like, oh, what's your go-to karaoke song? And I can never pick. Anything that's like a good ballad,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Is Natural Woman by Aretha Franklin.
That's a good one.
Yes, I am. I don't sing as much as I used to, but I absolutely love I keep saying we need to have like a GCNKAA karaoke league.
We should.
How many people would come out for that kind of event?
It would be fun. I'm
gonna revive that idea now that the pandemic. I think there's something there.
That would be great.
Well, you mentioned that your one of your favorite foods is Cuban. Do you have a favorite local restaurant that you like to frequent?
Oh, let's see. We love Cincinnati food culture, like eating out and all the restaurants. We actually have a Notion list of all of the restaurants that we want to go to divided by neighborhood. And so we're trying this year to go to like some new places because we love some of our like go-tos so much that we end up going there every single time. So we have the list and we're like, okay, if we're in this neighborhood, we have to try a new restaurant. But I think I have to say my favorite is the Eagle downtown in OTR. Have you ever been?
Yeah, that girl. Oh my gosh.
It's so good.
Best. And I love taking people there, when they come to
Yeah.
town. And it doesn't hurt that there's a Grater's right across the street. Not that I've ever been able to eat Grater's after I've eaten the Eagle,
Yeah.
but I always think today's the day. This is the time I'm gonna, like get both of my favorites into my body.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, that's fun. You should procure that list and sell it on the black market, because I'll tell you, that is good information.
I can do it. It's funny, we keep track of like, I'm very type A, if you had not noticed. But I hadn't
noticed, Gabby.
I keep track of what restaurant we've been to, like what meal we got, like what stars, and we're trying to hit up every restaurant. It's really, really great.
You like give Yelp reviews, and do you?
I don't. I've never.
Are you kidding me?
I've never. This is just like a intern, but it's funny because all my friends are like, "Oh, can you send me that?"
Yeah.
And so they will duplicate it and start their own. But yeah.
Well, if you find it in the goodness of your heart to share that thing, I am here to tell you,
I'll do it.
I'm constantly like, I just heard about this place, or I follow this account on Instagram and I saw this restaurant, and I went, have you been to Losanti? Last year, that was like, I've got to get to this place. I've got to get to this place. I'm so glad I did. It was very worth it. But like, you hear them and then you're like, unless there's an intentional plan, right?
Yes.
You're not gonna hit them all.
Yeah.
Well, that's fun. So we talked about your pet, but what about sports? Are you a Cincinnati sports fan, or do you still have the Florida teams in your heart?
So definitely a Bengals fan. Since we got here, we've been here for 5 years, and I've been a Bengals fan since we got here. We go to games all the time. And so last year it was great and heartbreaking at the same time. But we actually are avid college football fans, and we are huge Miami Hurricane fans. It's funny because I have to say Hurricanes because I say Miami and people from here are like, oh, like that Miami. No, the other Miami. So
well, that's fun. Let me tell you, the heartbreak that we experienced last season was better than the heartbreak we experienced most seasons, but it was
true.
Dating. Whew, what a year. I'm the biggest football fan on the planet, I would say. Not really, but Bengals fans. Bengals fans. I'm so excited for the season, and just the energy and the momentum that it brings to the city. It's just like undeniable.
Did you see the new black and white uniforms with the helmets?
Yes, it's
so good.
Yeah, and I mean, I follow like all the players. Little Evan McPherson just got married. It's so cute. Evan, so like I immediately loved Evan McPherson, and and obviously Joe Burrow, and it's like it's so good, and it's also like a really good lesson about how the momentum and energy of something really positive to root for, what it does to all of us, like all of us who get to participate in being in the city, like all of the team spirit, and I loved all of that.
Yeah, it's funny because you could feel just the excitement around the city, those couple months, and it was so fun, and I loved it. And then we're also FCC fans, so we go to the soccer games all the time.
I just went to my first one last week. So
I love the stadium.
Oh my gosh, I cannot believe I waited so long. Now my car got broken into, so I was like, well, this isn't good. But other than that, and it was such a good time. They tied the game, so it wasn't like, I guess, the best of games, but everyone was so nice. The stadium is spectacular. We had great seats. It was the Pride match, so there was like so much energy and so much fun.
Yeah.
Like I saw people I knew. It was my son's like, that was fun, and he does not like sports.
Yeah, even when they lose, it's like always a fun night.
Yeah, we were like, what have we been missing, and when can we come back? So, well, fun. So, what about music? Are you a concert person? And if so, have you been to any of the good local concert venues?
Oh, I haven't. I've been meaning. I want to book a concert for the new Brady venue. That would be really, looks so nice, but I actually haven't been to any concerts here in Cincinnati.
I think I was going to ask you about vacation instead of concerts, so that's my bad, Gabby. But I will say, get yourself to Riverbend if you have any opportunity. It's a
I need to.
yeah, and I haven't been to the Brady or the Ovation, and I think both of those are
Oh, I know.
fabulous. We've got
The Ovation also looks great. I mean, to be able to like be at a concert and then see the skyline. Oh,
we have
awesome.
so many good venues. And so, what about vacation? If you're from Florida, do you go to Florida is that your vacation, or do you have any other travel plans this year?
Yeah, I think I should have said this for my hobby. I love traveling. I've actually lived in a lot of different countries growing up, and I love being able to kind of connect to that culture the place that we're traveling. And my husband works for a tech startup in the travel space, so we're all about travel. And so yeah, our latest trip, we just went to Spain and Portugal in May, and it was really a lot of fun. I've never been to either of those countries, and I kind of have some background connection to Spain, and my grandparents are from Spain. So it was really cool to kind of experience that culture and be able to like see my last name, like my maiden name, in places. And I'm like, oh, that's my name. My maiden name is Prieto. And so, yeah, being able to see all that was really cool. We traveled to Lisbon, Porto, and Portugal. We did the vineyards in like inland from Porto. And then we did Barcelona and Madrid. And it was just an incredible experience. So I'm looking forward to my next trip.
Sounds amazing. Well, what gave you the occasion to live in multiple countries growing up?
Yeah, we moved around a lot. My parents are actually missionaries. So yeah, we lived in Costa Rica. That's my favorite. I was really young, so I remember, but I don't, I don't have adult experiences there. But Costa Rica, Panama, we lived, in Cuba. So I really love to travel and be able to go to, all the places. And I traveled a lot also on top of living there. So I'm fluent in Spanish. And yeah, and Spain was completely different because in Barcelona, they don't speak Spanish. So it was really interesting. They speak a different like northern language. It's like a mix between like French and Spanish. Yeah. Yeah. So most of the time, funny enough, I was like speaking English when I was there. But no, I'm like looking forward to my next trip. I think we want to go to Amsterdam or Croatia. That would be really cool.
So do you like your restaurant list? Do you have a travel list by priority and you gotta sure you've got everything down?
Yes, I don't go crazy. I promise. I don't go crazy. Like I don't plan every second of the day, but I do make sure I plan like everything that I want to get to at some point.
Like the concept of a vision board. You just have to put it out there so you can be seeing it and working toward it. I like that.
Exactly. So it's not like I'm not like a strict schedule person.
You're not a box checker.
Yeah, but I mean, kind of, but not like I'm not super, like we have to get there at 11 a.m., but because I kind of, if you're traveling and it's your vacation, I kind of like that lax, being able to kind of, want to sleep in this day or, kind of having that balance. But yeah, but I'm also like, we need to at least go to these places because I need to be able to check that off. So.
Well, that is very cool. Okay, so my next question, I feel like you've already answered 100 times, but I love to ask, just share a random fun fact